My mom had an affair with my brother's wife. My brother met his wife when they were both 25 and in their last year of school. They got engaged really fast, like about 4 to 5 months after they met. During their engagement, they spent a lot of time together, but they were never allowed to be fully alone together. So this meant that she would spend a lot of time at my house where either me, my mom, or my sister would spend the night with them. Inevitably, we all got super comfortable around each other, and this is when things started to get weird with my mom. My mom, who is 44 years old, started to get a little too friendly with my sister-in-law. Like, for example, we would be watching a movie and they would sit together, and then that turned into leaning on each other, and then that turned into full-on cuddling with each other. Another example is that they would FaceTime each other 24/7, and I'm talking about like waking up and falling asleep to each other on FaceTime. So eventually me and my sister would call my mom out on this, and she got extremely angry, and she was just saying that they were super close, so they would talk a lot, and she said she would stop calling her and talking to her so much, but she actually never ended up not talking to her as much, and she would just hide when they would be FaceTiming, and they would FaceTime for hours, sometimes even with AirPods in, just listening to each other's background noises, and then they would text each other when they would want to say something to each other. This went on for the entire engagement. Me and my sister would joke about how they were lovers, but we were really honestly just joking because we never thought that it would actually get that far. I had just gotten home from work, and my mom, my sister-in-law, and my sister were all sitting on the couch together. My sister had just gotten home like 10 minutes before me, and my sister-in-law and my mom had been together alone all day. I took a seat next to my sister on the couch, and she texted me and said, "Go look at what's on mom's bed, but don't make it obvious." So I got up really quickly, and I secretly went and took a peek into my mom's room. I didn't see anything at first, so I went in and took another quick look, and I saw a strap in the corner of my mom's room.
A lot of boy moms are straight up birds and straight weirdos. Hey y'all, I'm Lily, and my boyfriend's mom helped him cheat on me. Yes. Let me explain what happened. Y'all already know with my story times, I tell you guys who is who, what is what, and what's tea. Let's get right into it, y'all. This is another story time about Thomas the Train. If you're new here, Thomas the Train is one of my ex-boyfriends. I call him Thomas the Train because this man has a round head, a fat face, and he has big old eyes. He literally looks like Thomas the Train, y'all, like, for real. But we're gonna call him Tommy for short. And today I'm introducing Tommy's mom, who we're going to call Eagle. We're gonna call her Eagle because eagles are big bald birds. I don't think I need to elaborate. This story took place back in 2019. This was the beginning of me and Tommy's relationship. It honestly should have been the end. So during this time period, I don't know what was in the air, y'all, but me and Tommy were fighting like cats and dogs. Okay, we were beefing like actual enemies. I don't know what that was about. This was the beginning of the relationship, so like, why are y'all already fighting so much? It should have been done there. So I remember one day I had told Tommy, you know what, I'm done. I'm done fighting with you. I'm not going back and forth with you. I want to break up. And y'all, Tommy literally was like,
okay, fine. If that's what you want, that's fine. We could break up.
That was a red flag immediately, because one thing about Tommy never left me alone. Okay, if you know, you know. Okay, Tommy used to straight up say no. So I was like, why is he giving in so easily? I literally remember just staring at the phone for a second because I was like, okay. Yeah, you want some weird shit. So I remember I had just hung up on him. But like, y'all, the more I was sitting and thinking about the fact that he just said okay to me breaking up with him, like, I was like, something is not right. So I remember I had called him later and I was like, I'm coming to get my stuff. And he was like,
oh, I'm not home right now. And by the time I get home, it's going to be late. So you can just come tomorrow.
Tomorrow. So I'm like, where is Eagle at? She's not home. He talking about,
no, she's not home. She at her boyfriend's house.
so I'm like, okay, is your brother home? He talking about,
my brother is not home.
yeah, his brother didn't have no job, no friends, no girlfriend, not a pot to fucking piss in. That man did not used to leave the fucking house. So I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna come another day, knowing damn well I was about to get my ass right in that car and zoom straight to his house, because you're lying. This day, I just felt it in my bones, y'all. And so I remember I had like waited like an hour because I literally had sat at my house, y'all, gaslighting myself, even though I knew Tommy was a liar. Tommy used to lie about air and water. Like, them big ass eyes would get real like shifty, and he would just lie straight through them big ass teeth of his. Like, he wasn't even a good liar, y'all. Like, he used to say anything. So I was like, you know what? No, I'm going over there. I pull up to his house, and I already think y'all know whose broke down, raggedy ass, scraped up ass car I see front and center. Tommy's. So not only do I see Tommy's car, but I see Eagle's raggedy ass car too. You're a liar. So I get out the car and I'm walking up to the door. Girl, my heart is pounding. So I get to the door. I'm knocking on the door. There's no answer. So I knock again, and this time I hear whispering. I can't make out what's being said, but I can hear Eagle's voice. So I start calling both of them, and neither one of them are answering their phone. I can literally hear them whispering through the door. So Eagle opens the door finally, and she's like, "Hey, Lily, you didn't tell me you were coming?" Not once have I ever called this lady to ever tell her that I was ever coming to her house. So I try and immediately like walk past her to go to the back, like where Tommy's room is. And she's like, "Lily, come in my room. Like, I want to show you what I bought today." I'm not gonna lie, this wasn't out the ordinary because like she would always call me in her room to show me things that she bought, like when she went shopping. So I was like, but when I got in her room, she closed the door. She don't ever close her door, like ever. It's always wide open. So she's showing me the stuff that she bought or whatever. And I'm not gonna lie, at a point, it seemed like she just started pulling shit out her ass, y'all. Like, cause she needed to stall. So I ended up telling her, like, you know, I just came to grab something really quickly from Tommy. I'm in a rush right now. And so I try to leave. Do y'all know that this big ass lady jumped her ass in front of her door and was like,
"You can't go out there."
What? She's like,
"Him and his brother are back there. They're about to take something out, and I don't want you to see it."
"Bitch, am I 5? And what the fuck are they taking out? Is it a body? Like, what are you talking about right now?" So I told her, like, I have to go. So at this point, she's literally ignoring me, okay? But she's still standing in front of her door. So I go to the window in her room because he literally would have to, like, walk past her window to get to his car. If he didn't walk past the window, he would have to walk all the way around his building. Do y'all know that this lady called her son and said,
"Take the long way because she's standing at the window"?
"You a op for real." I got so mad, y'all, and I literally just started going off on her. So I just started telling her, like, you are not only a poor excuse for a mother, but for a woman. How dare you help this man cheat on me and you smile in my face every single day? I literally started calling her all types of weirdos to her face. Like, and I honestly, to this day, I don't regret it because what the fuck is wrong with you? So then she starts yelling back and she's like,
"Don't disrespect me in my house. Your attitude is always so nasty, and that's why he's cheating on you now."
Bitch. So I was like, yeah, and that's why his dad cheated on you and had 2 babies on you. And she was like,
Why would you say something like that? Have you lost your mind?
and so I just started laughing. One thing about me, when I get nervous or if I'm like in an uncomfortable situation, like I start laughing. So I start laughing and she's like, "And you think this is funny? You think this is funny?" And so she's just yelling at this point. She's going on and on and on. So while she's in the middle of her yelling, I hear the front door slam. I have never used all my might to push somebody so big out the way. I literally pushed her and I ran straight through that front door. Y'all, why when I get outside do I see Tommy and a girl running to his car? So I'm standing there looking stupid, mouth just open wide, just looking dumb. Like, I could not believe my eyes. Like, I knew he was on some fuckery, but like somewhere in the back of my mind, I still was like in denial. So I started to like run a little bit in their direction, and then I just stopped because I was like, what the fuck am I doing? Like, so they ended up getting in the car and then they just sped off. So I'm just standing there just dumbfounded because I could not believe this was happening. I remember going back in the house to get my purse, and I remember Eagle just standing there looking so stupid. I had rolled my eyes so hard at her and I was like, "You were just so disgusting." And then I just got my stuff and left. So Tommy calls me later on that night. I don't even know why I answered, y'all. He talking about,
I know it looks bad, but that girl, she lives in my apartment building. She just had to use the restroom. And I know you be tripping. Like, I know you was gonna go crazy if you seen a girl in the house.
All I could do was laugh, y'all. Because what? So I'm like, why did your mom tell me that you were cheating on me then? Y'all, the phone went dead silent. He talking about,
oh, you know my mom. She just be saying anything. She just be talking.
y'all, I hung up in his face because don't play with me. Me and Tommy did stay broken up, but we did get back together after like 2 months of our breakup. I know. I have so many stories about Tommy and Eagle and also the nonsense that I was doing during that breakup time. But we gonna get into all of that later. I realized a lot of boy moms are really coddlers and enablers to grown-ass men, and it's really disgusting and disturbing. So what did we learn today, y'all? If you're breaking up with somebody, stand on it because you're doing it for a reason. That man's mom is not your friend, okay? She's gonna ride for her son every time. And 3, beat his mama up. I'm just playing. Anyway. Stay blessed. Bye, y'all.
Get ready with me for the day while I tell you the story about how I was cheated on with not 1, but 2 of my best friends. This was definitely the most toxic relationship I'd ever had. I'm gonna spare you of all the nitty-gritty details because it is a long story. But basically, we were together for about 9 months and then we broke up. I was second year university and I was going through a lot of changes and I basically just needed a little bit of time to myself. So I ended up breaking the relationship off. First 9 months of our relationship was actually really good. Like, we never really fought. He was like a super sweet guy. And once we broke up and got back together, that's when shit just hit the fan. In my opinion, breaking up and getting back together is just never good, especially when you're younger. I feel like in between like the breakup, there's just so much that happens. Normally you're gonna hook up with other people, you're gonna see other people, things always just end up going down and it never ends up being good. We're only apart for 2 months and of course I was the one who broke it off and I had immediate regret. So I was like, oh my god, I miss you, like I want to get back together. We did, and little did I know this man was holding a vendetta over my head. It was this man's mission to hurt me the way that I hurt him, although I just broke up with him and was super honest with him and said, listen, like, I need a little bit of a break. I was like 20 and delulu, like, I don't know what to tell you. So we got back together, and we kind of just, like, tell each other, like, what we had been doing in between, who we had hooked up with, how many people we had seen. I ended up finding out that he was lying to me about a bunch of things, like a bunch of people that he had hooked up with. Should have been a red flag in itself, and it definitely was, but in my brain, my cute little peanut brain, I was like, oh, I hurt him. I need to give him the benefit of the doubt this one. So I did, and it ended up biting me in the ass. We broke up in June, got back together in August, and then I was leaving in September for school about 3.5 hours away. And since I was in school and he was working full time, I had just had plans to visit over the weekend. He didn't want roommates. He wanted to get a place of his own. So I said I'd put my name on the lease so that he could get approved. I'd visit this man every single weekend. I would leave Thursdays after class because I got out of class early, drive my ass 3.5 hours to my hometown, stay there until Monday morning, leave at 6 a.m. and then drive all the way back to campus. That cycle would just repeat. For the sake of this video, we're gonna call him Chad. So his birthday was coming up and I wanted to plan like a big surprise for him. And also one of my friends had just lost her dad, bless her heart. She needed a place to stay. I was like, well, we have a spare bedroom. I'm like, why don't you just stay with Chad? Now, I want to preface, we're all like a very close friend group. All hung out all the time. This girl and I were pretty close. We'd often hang out as a group with some other girls, specifically this one other girl that we'll call Rachel. And Becca and Rachel were besties to the resties. Like, those girlies were tight. They helped me with Chad's birthday. They were super involved. We'd also made the plan that weekend Becca could move into Chad's place. When Chad's birthday was over, Rachel and I helped Becca move into Chad's. To be honest, I was not worried at all because, again, like, they were super close friends of mine. I hung out with them all the time. Like, there's no reason for me to be worried. A couple weeks go by, and you know when you just get like a gut feeling that something's wrong and that something bad happened? I had that feeling, and the Thursday that I was going there, I ended up skipping my last class. You know, Chad did not know that I skipped my last class, okay? He thought that I was coming at my normal time at like 6 p.m. at night. Get there early, fob into the building, and then I go to open the front door and it's locked, which is super weird. The location said he was at home, so I was like, okay, this is weird. Like, why is the door locked? Again, I just didn't really think anything of it. I was like, oh, maybe Becca is just like paranoid and she locks the door all the time. I don't know. Knock on the door. He answers the door and he looked like he'd been crying. I was like, okay. Go in. He was acting super weird and just super off. I knew they went out the night before and that was part of the reason why I kind of felt a little bit off. He hadn't really texted me that night. He didn't text me in the morning. He was just being super distant. My anxious ass couldn't sit there with my thoughts any longer. So I was like, screw it. I'm just gonna go there. He would not tell me what was wrong. He was like, I'm fine. Everything's fine. I gotta go to work. He went to work. I ended up going out with my whole group of friends that night. While we're at the club, Becca and Rachel were being very distant. Like, they were just like not really talking to me, they were avoiding me. And I was like, okay, this is weird. Like, did I do something wrong? Becca went off and did her own thing, and I ended up following Rachel into the bathroom. Went into Rachel's stall, and I was like, what's wrong? Like, are you mad at me? Did I do something? She then starts crying and says, I can't believe you don't know. And I was like, no, what? We leave the bathroom, she pulls me outside, and she's like, listen, Chad and I had sex. All of our friends were there. All of our friends knew what happened. And Chad had said that he didn't want anyone saying anything to me because he wanted to be the one to tell me. I am sitting there not even believing what she was just saying to me. I was like, what are you talking about? And she was like, I wanted to tell you straight away, but he wouldn't let me. Like, he said that he wanted to tell you. And I was in disbelief, literally sobbing. Text Chad because he had just gotten off work, and I was like, pick me up. He then texted Rachel, and he was like, I thought you were gonna let me tell her. He was like, sorry, Chad, you had your chance. I couldn't keep it from her any longer, so I broke and I told her. Like, not only am I heartbroken, but I'm also pissed at literally all my friends, especially Becca, because I would consider her probably one of my bestest friends at that point. I also lived with Chad, so I had high expectations of her. Chad picks me up, he says he's sorry. Becca's back at home, she's like, I wanted to tell you. He wouldn't let me, he was threatening me. Since it had just happened, I wasn't really hanging it over Becca's head because I understood like the situation. I was like, this is a very awkward situation to be in. Me being heartbroken and naive and stupid. A couple days go by, I practically begged this man to be with me. I don't know why, I just really didn't think I was deserving of anybody else. In my mind, I was literally in love with him, so I don't know. At the end of the day, Chad was like, listen, we can't be together, like, we're so toxic. I was like, you know what, you're so right. You're so toxic. Like, I'm never gonna be able to get over this. I'm always gonna hang it over your head. We ended up just deciding to break up, which was for the better. Obviously, I thought it was the end of the world. I was heartbroken. I would call Becca every single day and just be like crying to her, asking her what he was doing. And Becca would tell me, Becca was that girl because she still lived with him. And genuinely, I do think that this was probably one of the worst heartbreaks I'd ever gone through, just because to me, he was like my first real love. Just like, oh my gosh, like I'm gonna be with this man forever. And Becca was just really there for me. She literally would talk to me every single day. Rachel had apologized a gazillion times, and I kind of just decided to move past it and just like forgive, which I know is fucking crazy. In my brain, I was a very forgiving person. Like, I'm just a girl. Weirdly enough, Rachel and I actually ended up getting closer. Fast forward a couple months, I was hanging out with Rachel and Becca. My friend calls me, says, I have to tell you something. And tells me that she's with a mutual friend that her and Becca are both really good friends with. That Becca and Chad were sleeping together the whole time. I was in disbelief. Like, I was like, there's no way. Like, there's no way Becca wouldn't do that. Turns out Becca did do that because she ended up coming clean to me about everything, told me every single situation that had ever happened. Keep in mind, this is all going down at Rachel's house, okay? And Rachel's sitting there like, what the fuck is happening? Like, I didn't even know about this. To my knowledge, she didn't. Rachel and Becca are like this, and I highly doubt she didn't know about it because why would Becca keep that from Rachel? Like, I don't get it. Rachel had slept with Chad, so like why would she keep it from her? They were definitely in cahoots. Today, it took Chad sleeping with two of my best friends for me to realize that he was a master manipulator and gaslighter. And that was pretty much the end of my little trio with Becca and Rachel, as it should have been. Till this day, I get asked why I stayed friends with Rachel. I don't know. I think I was just desperate for friends at that time, especially going through a heartbreak and not having your family to really lean on. Like, I was willing to lean on whoever I could. So yeah, that's the story. Hopefully you enjoyed.
You've heard who the hell did I marry, but have you heard who the hell's birth certificate did I sign? Because boy, do I have a story time for you. Yeah, I have a story time for you, and I've been waiting months to tell this one, but I just got word from my brother that I'm allowed to talk about it a couple weeks ago, and now it's on. It's on like white on rice, baby. Eventually, when my podcast is back on, I will have him on the podcast to tell his side of the story, but for right now, I'm gonna tell my side of the story because I had to be involved and subjected to this bullshit. So here's my side of the story. One day, I get a call from my brother, about a year ago, actually, at this point, and he says, oh no, sis. Oh no, I think I might have got somebody pregnant. And I said, Shaquan, what the fuck do you mean? What are you talking about? Because I get this call biannually. You know what I mean? Like, I get this call about biannually. This man, he is notorious for letting me know that he might have, quote unquote, gotten someone pregnant. He never has. He never has gotten no one pregnant. A little paranoid. So I get this call about biannually, but I get it this time. And this time felt really real. This time felt scary real. For some reason, I felt the need to give him some advice this time, which normally I just tell him to shut the hell up because he probably didn't. I don't hear much from him after that because Shaquan likes to go on these little spurts of MIA-ness where I hear from him 0% and then I hear from him randomly on one of our birthdays that we have to do something crazy like bail my mom out of jail or go pick up a crazy lady from a different city. I don't know. But I don't hear much about this for a few months until a few months rolls by and he tells me, oh, sis, you know, I think that, I think that that's my baby. I think she definitely is pregnant with my kid. And I'm like, Shaquan, okay, what do you mean? First of all, how do you know? And has this girl been like, you know, sleeping around with other people, because I just feel like she probably has been if she was sleeping with you. I just feel like she probably has been sleeping with other people because she probably knows that you don't take people seriously. So, question being, are you sure it's yours? Because I would very rarely ask this of anyone, because I feel like I always trust the woman. But with Shaquan and the group of people he enjoys sleeping with, I have to ask the question, are you sure? And so for a fact, I do ask that question. And he says, well, there was a few other people, but she's saying timeline wise, it has to be me. And I trust her, man. I trust her because, you know, she wouldn't really seem like she would lie about this, because she's not even really asking me to step up. I'm going to step up, you know, because Shaquan is a good guy. When all things push to come to shove, Shaquan's going to be a good guy. And he's going to step up for this child. So I'm like, all right. So if this is your baby, I'm about to buy mad shit. I'm excited. I'm going to be an auntie again. I'm really excited for this. When is she due? And he said, oh, she's due in like a month. So clock is ticking at this point. We're like, okay. And one day I get a call from Shaquan at midnight and I don't answer. So I call him back in the morning and I'm like, oh God, what's this going to be? He answers the phone and there's a baby in his arms. What? He's like, sis, I really want you to come down and meet this baby. So I'm kind of like, what are our other friends thinking? You know, what are my other friends thinking? So I call up my other friends, because we have like a group of people. Shaquan is notorious for just like dumb shit. Just dumb shit. You know, call up my other friends and they're like, we really don't think this is his. There's no proof yet. And this girl is saying she's going to do a paternity test, but it's just weird. Something weird about it. And so I call him back and I'm like, I'll come down and meet that baby. Don't you worry. I'll come down and meet that baby. And I want to meet the baby mom too. A lot of people were feeling kind of negatively toward this. They were like, that's definitely not his kid. And I could notice he was getting frustrated by this. So I tried to be as positive as possible, even though I have my own doubts. So I go down there and I meet this damn baby and I hold it, or I don't even think I got to hold it. It was in the NICU because it came a little bit early. So I just had to stand near it and love on it and rub its little toes. And then we sat there while he held it and I cried with him, because what? My brother's about to be a dad? Like, what is happening? But we're all still curious as to if this is actually his kid. We're not sure. The paternity test hasn't been done, anything like that. The girl's kind of putting it off and we're just starting to get a little bit weary about it. So the baby mom says that she's doing this paternity test. She needs to swab both their mouths with a Q-tip. And he's trusting this and whatever. And she says that she's going to take this paternity test swabs to CVS or to one of these pharmacies and they're going to authenticate for it. And they're going to tell him if he's a dad or not. If you know anything about paternity tests, that's not how it happens. Not how it happened. It takes about a week and a half, maybe even 2, to get your results back. Sometimes longer than that. Yeah. Anyways, he trusts it and doesn't really tell me that this is what's happening. And he does it. He does a little swab in his cheek. And then her sister takes this swab down to whatever pharmacy or lab and has it confirmed within an hour. Within an hour, we find out Shaquan is the dad of this baby for sure. If you know anything about paternity tests, it doesn't come back within an hour. He comes over to me and Ayana and he's like, dude, I don't think this is real, because she sent back this paper that like just looked fake. It just looked, for some reason to him, fake. To me and Ayana, we were like, this is real? You're actually the dad? We don't know anything about paternity tests. So we're like, yeah. No. We start Googling the doctors that signed off on this paternity test. They're on a template for colleges to use for documents, to learn about documents. They are fake doctors. They are not real. She paid a company to send over a fake paternity test. Well, his dumbass, without letting us know, because he said he was just going back down to the hospital to help her with something. He went back down to the hospital because she was pressing him to sign this birth certificate, and he signed the birth certificate. He signed the motherfucking birth certificate. Her crazy ass sent him over a fake paternity test to force him to sign the birth certificate. That baby did not look like Shaquan either. So me and him, CSI agent, over to CVS, and we get one of those like boxed paternity tests, even though that's not going to help him at all because they really don't hold up in court. They have to get court ordered, but it is a good reason to go to court and say this wasn't my kid. Yeah. As we get this paternity test and we sneak over to the hospital, mind you, he had already signed the birth certificate. The girl is acting kind of weird. She's acting kind of suspicious, a little bit weird, but she was ready to go. Her mom was going to take her home while the baby sat in the NICU because the baby needed to be there for a couple more days or a couple more weeks. And she calls us while we get there. We get to the hospital with this paternity test and we're hiding in the parking lot and we're like, oh my God, we have to go in there when she's already gone, because she doesn't have any clue that we're in doubt of this being his kid, and she thinks she got one over on him. Because now we're like, you sent a fake paternity test. You know something we don't know. You know this is not his kid, and you know you are doing one over on him. You know? So we sneak into the hospital, and we go up to the NICU, and he tries to convince the people at the NICU that I'm the mother so that I could go in there and help him with the paternity test. They knew right away that it was not the case, and I wasn't trying to do that anyway, so they had me sit down. He calls me on FaceTime and has me walk him through doing this paternity test. We do it. We swab a cheek. We and we send over the paternity test, but the birth certificate's already signed. You know what I mean? So it's really a tough sticky sitch. About a week goes by. I hear back from Shaquan. a little video. In fact, I get a video of him doing the results like Maury in a living room. Shaquan, you are not the father. 0% chance, in fact. Kind of like everyone was telling him not to sign the birth certificate before he got that paternity test back. But, you know, not only did he have me meet this child that was not his and get all excited for him to be a dad, but he had me sneak up into that hospital after that lady was gone. We had to CSI agent up in that parking lot until we saw her leave. We parked across from her. We leaned our seats back so that we could see when she left. We watched her leave. And then when she left, we snuck up in that hospital and we took that baby swab and then we sent it in. Mind you, this is completely fine because at this point, he is legally this baby's father. So he is allowed to do a paternity test. But we knew she would be weird about it because we knew she was feeling guilty and we knew she was going to try to pull like that was weird or that she was mad about that. You could be mad all you want, but he's legally that baby's father. Now they are going to court about this child, and she's all over social media talking about that he's a deadbeat, but he's not a deadbeat. That's not his child. I swear to God, every time I hang out with Shaquan, it's some other bullshit. So, yeah.
I need your input because this girl I'm friends with, I feel like she's just been acting weird the more I think about it. I feel like she's low-key preying on my downfall, but I can't tell if I'm just being dramatic and overthinking because I tend to do that. Me and this girl have been friends since the beginning of the year, so not really that long. We're more going out friends, I would say. We hang out, you know, once a month, sometimes twice a month. We usually go out to like a bar or something, but you know, occasionally we'll grab dinner and just like yap. The first couple of times I hung out with her, you know, she was cool, like really no issues. I was like, okay, cool, like maybe this, like we could be like really close friends. And then I think the third or fourth time we hung out, you know, inevitably we start talking about men because I'm sorry, I just love talking about boys, I'm sorry. But also I think it's a good way to like bond with people because we've all been traumatized by some man, so we all have that in common. You know, we're talking about dating apps, our types, whatever, you know, like trauma. I realize we have completely different types, polar opposite. We're talking and in the bar we're at, this guy that, you know, on paper would be my type walks in and she's like, oh my gosh, like that's your type, you should go up to him and talk to him. He was cute for like me being a few drinks deep on a Wednesday night at a like not busy bar. I was like, okay, like he's cute, but I really was just not looking to talk to him. And she was determined to get his number for me, and I was like, okay, like she's a good wing woman. Not that I really want this guy, but like you know, I could get like a free drink out of it, you know what I mean? Before I talk to him, I'm looking at her, looking at their interaction, and she's just giving him like fuck me eyes. This guy's a lot taller than her, and she's just like looking at him like this, and I was like, okay, like kind of weird. You're asking him like for like my number, and then his back is completely turned to me, so I was kind of looking over at him so I could kind of look up and like wave or smile or something when he like inevitably turned around to like see if he was interested in me. He was over there for a few minutes and I can tell she's just being really flirty with him, which I think is so weird because again, we had polar opposite types and you were going over there to be my wing woman. And then she gave him her phone to like put in his number or Instagram or something, I guess. And I don't really care. Like it's just like a mediocre looking man to me, so it's like not really that big of a deal. But she like was like, oh, like I went over and asked for you, but he said he wasn't interested in you, but he wanted me. And I was like, okay, like, you know, it's possible, but like you never like pointed me out. So I don't know, maybe he saw me walking in or something, but like okay. And a couple weeks later we were grabbing dinner and we were talking about Hinge because I mean, as you guys know, I just have a terrible track record with Hinge. But at the time I was talking to this guy and we were planning on going out, and she was really like, what's the word? She was really pressing me to see his profile, and she took a really long hard look at it, which I thought was kind of weird because I don't know, whenever I look at my friends' Hinge matches, I'm like, oh, okay, like he's cute or whatever, even, you know, like I don't really care. And then she's showing me her Hinge and she's like, oh, let's go through my liked profile or the people that liked me. And you know, she's a pretty girl, so she had like, I don't know, like 30-40 matches. So we were going through all of them, and of course like they're all like gremlins looking on there. Thing is I noticed that they were all the same ethnicity because she has a type, so I assumed that she probably put that in her Hinge, that it was a deal breaker if they weren't that specific race. And then I didn't see a single guy over the age of 23 on her liked profile. And the guy I was talking to, I like older men. I love me an older man. So the guy I was talking to was like 26 or something, but there was nobody above the age of 23 in her liked. What I'm basically saying is that she's not into older men. She's into men that are closer to our age. I subconsciously took note of that, and then a week later, she called me, and she never calls me, so I picked up, and I was like, hey girl, like, you good? Like, oh my gosh, like, I'm so nervous. I'm about to go on a date with this guy, and then I was like, oh, like, you know, like, have fun, whatever, be safe. I asked how they met. She said Hinge, and she's like, you know what, like, I'll just share his profile with you so you can see it, which, again, I never asked for. She shares it, and it's that guy that I showed her, and I was like, Like, that, like, kind of pissed me off, because I was just like, this is weird, because, again, like I said, we have polar opposite types, and that means that she had to specifically change, because the guy that I was talking to was a completely different race and a completely different age, and so I'm like, it seems like you changed your preferences based off of the guy that I was talking to see if you could match with him, and that was just really weird. I ended up not even going out with that guy, so it wasn't about, I need to calm down. It wasn't about the guy. It was just like, you know, about the principal. Well, you know what I mean about, like, it's the principal. I don't need to, like, over-explain myself to you. I know you get it. I thought that was weird, so I kind of took a little break from hanging out with her. I think I didn't see her for 6-8 weeks, something like that. Also, I did confront her about it on the phone. I was like, yo, like, that's the guy I matched with. Like, you're going out with him. And she's like, oh my gosh, what? You matched with this guy? That's crazy. Like, what a small... I'm like, bitch, like, don't play dumb with me. A couple months go... I think, like, 2 months go by, and then she hits me up, and she's like, we need to hang out. And honestly, I was just, like, really bored and, like, lonely at this point in time. So I was like, okay, you know what? Like, we can go out, like, and just have a good time. This is just, like... why I kind of want to stop talking to her, because she's moving really weirdly. But the last time we hung out, it was like 2 months ago or something like that. I've just been really busy, so I haven't really talked to her as much. But the last time we hung out, I was talking about this guy that I used to be super duper down bad for, like sickeningly, I don't know, just really down bad for. And so I was like talking about it. I don't care about that boy anymore. I like do not want that boy anymore. I was talking about it. She asked to see a picture of him, so I pulled up his Instagram. She snatches my phone from me and like starts really digging on his Instagram, and I was like, okay, like whatever. Nothing else was weird during this hangout. I go home and, you know, whatever. I haven't really gone out with her recently. I haven't talked to her as much just because I've been busy. Yesterday I was on Instagram and I was scrolling on the explore page, and this guy that I was talking about posted, and I guess because I used to stalk him a lot, I don't stalk him anymore, but I guess because I used to, Instagram's like, oh, like, I'll show you his shit. Of course, I'm gonna look, like, duh, like, obviously I'm gonna look. So I'm looking at it, and it says, liked by her. What the fuck? What? And so I click on the profile, and she follows him, and I'm just like, what the fuck? And this guy also, mind you, has a girlfriend. So I'm like, I know he's not on dating apps, or at least he shouldn't be on dating apps. And he also doesn't follow her back. So I don't know what to do. I don't know if I should like confront her about it, or if I'm just being dramatic. But I think that's weird. I don't think I'm being dramatic, because I think that's weird behavior and I would never do that. But I just don't know what to do. I don't know if I should just tell her like I'm just like done with her, or like just like ignore her, ghost. Like I don't know what to do. So like please help me out.